everyone. I am coming to you from Homeschooling is My Superpower, and it has been forever since I did a video, and I want to apologize. It has been hectic, and I just have been trying to take time with my family, and the videos have not been being made like they should. But first of all, I want to come and get you caught up on what's going on. And if you see the background here, all the little Mario decals, I am recording in my oldest son's bedroom because he actually has the largest desk, and it's a great workspace for me. And right now they're downstairs doing something else, so it's the perfect place to record my video. So I wanted to basically come and get you caught up on what's happening right now. Right now we're in the middle of the quarter semester, whatever you want to call it. We're right before Thanksgiving, fall, winter break. And basically we're still doing traditional homeschooling, but I was allowed to become a paid reviewer of some curriculum, which I am so excited about. That's like a dream come true for me, just to be able to review curriculum, which I do anyway, and write an honest review on it and get paid to do it is great. And the curriculum that I have been using for the last month is Time for Learning. I am actually reviewing Time for Learning. In exchange for my review, they gave me a month for free. Normally it would have been I think it's $19.95 for the first child and $14.95 for each additional child. So it would have actually been over $30 something a month, but I'm actually getting it for free and in exchange for a review. The funny thing about that is I have been wanting to try Time for Learning forever, and it just wasn't in our budget. I couldn't figure out how to put it into our budget. But the funny thing is, since I've been doing it, I love it, the kids love it, that I'm actually finding a place to fit this in. Like, it's amazing what you can do when you really like something and it's working for you. You'll find a way to do it. So that means that maybe we don't eat out as much, or we don't go do something, I'll be able to find a way to fit 30 something a month into our budget. And I believe it's doable. I mean, the kids are really, they actually ask to do more work, because what Time for Learning does is, and I'm not gonna go too in depth with Time for Learning, because that would, that's the point of me doing a review, which this is not the review. But the thing about Time for Learning is, once you get a certain amount of your schoolwork done, they reward you by giving you a certain amount of time for the game room or playroom, whichever one you can call it. But you basically go to the little place on the website and you play games. Kids love it. So say you do 30 minutes of your schoolwork, you've earned 30 minutes of time in the game room. So my kids are actually like, Mom, I want extra time. Can I go do 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes of this? So school is over, but they're asking to do more work. So anytime that happens, it's a win for me. The only thing that, it does do additional off-screen time too. So I'm still incorporating some of my lessons into the day. Even though we have Time for Learning, we're still doing art, we're still doing music. My kids still have assigned reading, novels, literature, things like that. My son right now is doing Swiss Family Robinson. My daughter is doing a mixture of things. Our last thing, like, we were kind of tapping more into the fairy tale of Brothers Grimm. We're gonna do Aesop fables. We just did Rumpelstiltskin last week, and she's in 1st grade, by the way. So we're doing a lot of different reading assignments with her, and we're doing that offline, aside from the Time for Learning. I am still doing hands-on science. They do have the science curriculum for Time for Learning, but I'm also incorporating my own hands-on type science. Like we just did a experiment with soil to figure out what soil is actually made of. So we went through the scientific method. We had a problem. We need to know what soil is made of. We did the experiment. They formed their hypothesis. Then we did experiment. They observed. They collected their data from the experiment, and then we came up with the conclusion. So basically, we used the scientific method to do different things. Right now, my son is doing kind of like chemistry, physical science more so. My daughter is doing biology. So that leads into my next segment. Okay, I have been getting questions about what, or how should I say, do I teach different ages, different grade levels. Now, I don't know if I've tapped into this in some of my previous videos, but I'm going to do it again. Every year is different. This year I have a 4th grader, I have a 1st grader, and I have a toddler who is 2.5. The way that I've done it, and I have been homeschooling or basically doing school at home since my oldest was 4. So this will be basically my 5th year homeschooling. And the way I do it is, say my 1st grader is, working on something. Now I'm gonna tell you how I do it, not with the time for learning, because the time for learning is really simple. They each have their own grade level. They're on the computer. They need help. I go, okay, we'll set aside the time for learning, and I'll tell you how I do it when we do just traditional. Well, every week I do a plan. I make up a lesson plan. At the beginning of the year, I come up with basically a bullet point, I don't know what you call it, a plan, basically a yearly plan, annual plan per grade level. This is what we're going to cover. This is what we're going to do. So throughout the year, what I do is, since I already have the points that I want to cover, I basically build my lesson plans on those things. We're going to read fairy tales, say. Okay, what I do is I choose the fairy tales that I want to cover. So from week to week, I'll choose and pick from those and say, okay, well, this week we're going to do Rumpelstiltskin, or we're going to do Cinderella, or or we're going to talk about poetry. This week we're going to read this poem, and I may not even have it written down. I may just go to the computer and find Google 1st grade poems and pull from those, and we go over those. So I try to keep it week to week, and everybody's different. I'm not good at looking at things from the entire year, like from a large viewpoint. I like to keep things small and tackle things for the right now. So instead of looking at my entire year's plan, what I like to do is basically I've already broken down my year, because I have what I want to cover. So instead of just completely doing a lesson plan for month to month to month, filling my planner with everything for the whole year we're going to do, I do it week by week. So on my weekend is Monday and Tuesday. Our new school week begins on Wednesday. So on Tuesday, I mostly the time do my lesson plans. So on Tuesday, I take a look at my week and I say, this week I want to do this, or this week we're going to talk about this. I don't go beyond this week. I do all my copies. I do my printouts for this week only. That keeps me right here. And the reason for that, there's 2 reasons for that. One of the reasons is I'm not good at, I'm an anxious person by nature. I tend to have some anxiety issues. So a lot of times if I just tackle on too much or look at too much at one time, it overwhelms me. So taking a little bit here and a little bit there works for me. That's one reason. The second reason is I never know what interest may come up from week to week. One week they may be so into a certain topic and I'm like, oh, okay, well, we'll talk about this. Like I'm discovering now that my daughter loves talking about insects, animals, all of that good stuff. So one week we may decide, hey, we're just going to watch a Netflix video about nature, or we're going to go outside and talk about insects or whatever. It leaves it open to explore new things and to talk about new things. That way we're not just pinned down to a lesson plan. That's one of the reasons that I really like to just take things week by week. So anyway, we have our plan. My kids have their assignments for the day. I tell them, okay, today we're going to do this. I break it down, math, whatever subject they're doing. So what I try to do, this is how it works easiest for me. While one child is working on something that they can do independently, I work with the child on what they need. If it's a new topic and I need to lecture about it or do examples on it, then I work with that child with that, while the other one is doing something that they can do independently. Once they've gotten their lesson, their lecture, they have their explanation of the new subject, they're ready to do their independent written work or online work or whatever. So while they're working on that, then I go to the other child and do, their lecture or introduce something that they need me for. When I have both of them working independently, that's my time to pull to my toddler and say, okay, let's read. Let's see what you're going to do today. You have a color worksheet today, or we're going to go over nursery rhyme today. So while they're both working independently, I'm working with him. Okay, while he's engaged in some activity, I'm checking with them. Okay, you get it? You understand? Okay, you understand? You get it? Okay, so now we've all done our independent work. My toddler's engaged in something. Now it's time to move on to the next subject. So I do the same exact thing. Independent work with them. If there's anything, like my 4th grader, he may be reading his literature for his book. So while he's reading, I'm working with my daughter on her math. Okay, you need me, I'm explaining this to you. Okay, hey, let's look at a video on Khan Academy about this, and we're working. Now my son's, okay, I'm done with that. All right, so she had her lecture, he did his independent work. So we've watched our Khan Academy video and all that good stuff. Well, hey, now I want you to attempt some problems on your own. When you're done, I will check them and we'll go over them. If you got something wrong, we'll see how we can fix it. So while she's doing that, now I can work with my son. He's doing what he does. In the meantime, my toddler is over here doing his little thing, and he's coloring or he's playing with his toys. So now I'm to a point where they've had their lecture. Now they both can do independent work. Again, they have some type of lesson that they can do by themselves. Now I can go back to my toddler and we can work on some things with him. We're going to count, we're going to say our ABCs. He's going to get, into his little activities, whatever it is. And now, basically I can pull him on my lap. He loves SesameStreet.org and he loves Starfall. Starfall is a phonics website that basically goes over beginning sounds, and they have all kind of little games. He loves the gingerbread man. Oh my goodness, they have this thing where you can create your own gingerbread man. They ask you what color eyes you want them to have, what shape eyes, shape nose, shape buttons, and then you can fill in the color. Once you create your gingerbread man, they put him in the story basically, and you can watch him run and do all that good stuff. So he's really into that. He'll play that, like every time we go to that website, he points to that's what he wants to do. So we work on something that he wants to do. Now, the subjects that I try to merge and teach together, and it's difficult to do that because they're on different topics right about now, but what I normally love to merge together is science, history, Bible, art, and music, any elective. Okay, even though like computer, they're on different levels with computers, so it's sort of hard to merge those. But history is a really easy one to merge because basically every aspect of social studies or history, you're going to cover the same thing at some point in time. So if we start off with American history, that's okay for a 1st grader to start learning about American history. And it's okay for a 4th grader to start tapping more into ancient Egypt or something else, even though he covered it in 1st grade. It's okay because it's more to learn later on about ancient Egypt, we can get more in depth with it. So right now we're kind of all over the place because my son did ancient Egypt way back in first grade. So he started on American Revolution last year. Now we're kind of moving into Civil War. I don't want to be repetitive, so I kind of still break those up. My daughter's doing ancient Egypt and ancient times, all that good stuff. So I try to keep her on that, and I keep him where he is since we've already studied that. But you can incorporate lessons for all age groups, for history and science especially. Same thing with science. You know, he did something with the online school, so now he's totally past biology and, you know, habitats and stuff. I don't want to teach a fourth grade about habitats. That's like, you know, that's stuff that he learned early on. So he's more like now learning the periodic table. He's, you know, tapping into more things like that. My daughter is doing the continents. He did the continents way back in the day, so we're not going there again. He's getting more into latitude, longitude, that type of stuff. So he's a little bit more advanced in that. So I don't want to take him backwards when we've already mastered that and moved onward. But if you're a new homeschooler and you want to do that, if that makes your life easier, you can do that. You can incorporate the same lessons, but you can make it a little bit more difficult for your older children and a little easier for your younger children. For example, your older children can write a report, or your younger children can color a picture. So that's the easy way to do it. But basically, that's how I do it. I juggle my time between each child. I try to give them the same amount of time depending on what they need me for. My fourth grader is able to work a lot more independently than the first grader. She still needs help with reading things through. He is okay. So if I need to spend a little bit more time going over things with her, I do it. And then I still can look at him and what he's doing and see if he needs more practice, more reinforcement on a certain skill. And if so, when she's done, I can take time with him. Art, we all do together. Music, we all do together. Computer, they're on different things, so we're doing different levels. Handwriting, same thing. My son's doing cursive, my daughter's doing print, so I can't merge those two. But what we do is usually they do a Bible scripture for their copy work. So my daughter's copying her Bible scripture in print. My son copies his Bible scripture in cursive. Way to incorporate it, but it's still, you know, different things. Bible, we always do the same thing. Bible together. We study the same thing, whether it's a scripture or if it's a lesson. We all do Bible together, devotion, that type of thing as a family together. So those are the things that I do. So I incorporate, or you can incorporate, Bible, history, science, art, music, all electives you can do for all ages. As long as it's, to me, I think elementary works better with that. Once you get into middle and high, it might be a little bit different. But basically, if you have different children, your best bet and your best thing to do for you to do to make your life easier is to try to have one child work as independently as they possibly can while you work with another of your children. And the awesome thing about that is, as homeschoolers, my main focus is to get them to be as independent as they possibly can, and to be independent and free thinkers, and as well as independent self-starters and independent workers. And that's why I do that. A lot of people think when you homeschool, you baby them, you know, you pamper them, you take, you hold their hand through the lessons. Maybe some, but I definitely don't do that because I think it hinders them more than hurts them. So I always say I'm probably will ever be my children's toughest teacher. And it's mainly because I know them. So I know their strengths, I know their weaknesses. So I know what to, when one is telling me they can't do something, I know when they actually can. And I also know when something is a struggle for them. And I don't hold their hand. If you can do this on your own, do it. I'm not going to tell you what that word is, sound it out. I'm not going to tell you what that means, look it up. I'm not going to tell you, past a certain age how to spell that, because do the best you can. Write it down the way it sounds, and we'll talk about if it's the correct spelling or not once you do it. And it's just going to help them later on, especially in college, to do that. No one told me that when I got to college, no one would care. No one cares if you come to class. No one cares if you turn in your assignments. You either do it or you fail. Point blank. And I don't want them to have that reality later on. I want them to be prepared. So that's why I do what I do, and I try to keep them as independent working as they possibly can. And I think that's about it for this video. So I'm gonna do another video, try to play catch up, but basically that's it. I try to divide my time between each child until we're done, and we do what we can together, and that's how we do it. That's the best way I can explain the way we do things. But please follow me on all of my social media outlets. I am on Twitter, Homeschool Power. I am on Google Plus, and Facebook. I have a fan page. If you like us, please go like our fan page. It's Homeschooling is My Superpower, same name as my blog. My blog is www.homeschoolpower.com. And I think that's it. But anyway, if I forgot anything, you can find my social media little icons up near the top where my little title bar is. It's right there at the bottom. You can click on them and it'll take you right to all of my social media outlets. And I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all my new subscribers. It means the world to me. Your comments, your emails, everything means the world to me. Thank you very much, and we'll see you all later. Bye bye.